This is TWiT.
I'm calling it Walletgate. Boy, John Gruber is salty over all this. Now, have any of you yet seen an F1 ad in your wallet? Because I still haven't.
Yeah, so I got one in the wallet app. I didn't see the notification, but I have most of my notifications turned off.
Yeah, me too.
But I did in the wallet app. There was a little temporary thing with a close icon on it that said,
well, how do you feel about that, Jason
get a deal.
Snell? What do you think?
I kind of don't care. There are a lot of people clutching pearls about, sorry to just come out strong, but like my take is not that it's fine. My take is that Apple has been pushing ads to us like everybody else for a long time now. And I don't think the fact that it came from the wallet app instead of the TV app makes a whole lot of difference. I think that it's, my personal philosophy about push notifications is you shouldn't push marketing notifications unless you offer an option to turn them off. And that should be for every app from every company. And the irony is that in the 26 operating systems, you can turn off marketing messages in Wallet, but not in the currently shipping version.
Oh, interesting. So this will be fixed in 26.
It will be fixed in 26. That's a nice, let's just put that on a t-shirt, fixed in 26. But so I don't like it, but I have a hard time creating a lot of anger about it just because everybody abuses push notifications. People say, oh, well, Apple's guidelines. I mean, like, they're guidelines. They're like, you shouldn't do that. But everybody does it, including Apple, and that's just the way of the world. So is this a slightly sort of beaten down take on my part? Yes, it is. But I feel like I feel like Apple has committed so many crimes that on this front that this is just like another one on the list. So it's hard for me to get really mad about it.
Yeah, Casey List started the whole thing, and this is the latest one from Claude Zients. Here's his real wallet with a little card in it. That did not happen. But John Gruber says it's trust eroding. John Gruber says it's basically ruined everything Apple has done.
I think my problem is I use the wallet so little that I was kind of like, okay, well, whatever. Right. Like, I don't like I can't remember, because I don't use the wallet, because if you make the mistake of putting your flight into your wallet, it will remind you of that every 10 minutes for the next 6 years. Like it's just like constantly like, your flight's here, your flight's here, your flight's here. And so I was just like, never want to put anything in the wallet. Yeah. I used it for a concert on Friday, but that was kind of like a new thing, and I couldn't even
kind of have
find
to it. Like the Giants games, you put it in your wallet.
Printed out. I could have printed it out, or I could have had.
Yeah, you could print it out, but you look like a caveman.
Yeah, most of those you can have it in the app, and you don't actually have to put it in the wallet. You can just have it in the app. I agree with Gruber's metaphor in the sense that erosion, right? An erosion is a long-term process done by individual drips of water over many, many years. And I agree with that. I feel like this is just another drip in it. And I think the fact that this happened to come out in Wallet, I don't think Wallet is some sort of magic sacrosanct place that should never have anything in it. I don't think it's appropriate. And I think you should be able to opt out of these things. But I don't know, maybe it's just me saying it's the way of the world. Like, should they have done it? Well, no, but they also spent hundreds of millions of dollars on the movie and are trying to work with their partners to sell people on the movie. So I get it.
I agree. I mean, I think that the problem is that there's still a persistent idea of, oh, Apple's a $3 trillion company with an immense amount of power, but they're not like other super huge international powerful companies that are amongst the most valuable in the entire world. They would never do that. Ignoring that, well, yeah, they are doing that. They've always done that. They've just done it in ways that we don't necessarily notice or don't necessarily find all that offensive, which is not me throwing up my hands and being cynical and saying, well, of course, they're going to introduce crap and whatever they want. But the thing is, like, they're not necessarily better than any other company. They care about people until there's a really good business reason not to care about people, in which case the business plan, as always, has to come first. And that's not an evil thing about Apple. It's not even necessarily an evil thing about businesses. It's just the way things work. The business plan always comes first, and the user will always come second.
I'm curious. I don't even know if they were targeting anybody. I mean, I don't think we know whether it was targeting anybody.
That's what I'm wondering, because I didn't get it. But
I didn't get it. And I did all the things that you would need to do to get an F1 invite. And so I don't know how targeted it was as opposed to some random sample to see how it worked. I think that I think F1, number one is I think Eddie Q wants F1 to be successful a lot. And I think this is something that he's really interested in. I think number two is that that Apple is interested in how far could they actually make a film release work. I don't think that they're planning to do this for everybody's films. I think they're planning to do this if they do it for their films. And I think that they want to see if they put out a film every 6 months or because I think Apple's going to probably stop making features in the next, any kind of features that aren't going to theatrical probably this year or next year. And then they'll release maybe 3 to 4 features, maybe a year. The rest of it's all going to be, that's where most people are going, all series and everything else, because series are better for subscriptions. And so I think that, but Apple also, I think, is looking at, if we can move the needle, they've said this, if they can move, they want to see what they can do as far as moving the needle towards a cultural push. F1 is not as well known in the United States. They want to see if they can move that needle forward and possibly buy some of the broadcast rights for F1. And I think so. I think this got into the convolution of a whole lot of things that Apple wants to do. And again, I don't know. I think that the press is really upset. I don't know if anybody else even noticed that it happened or cared. I don't even think they thought.
Well, we've all seen
ads
so many places. Maybe nobody's
I
really
don't even know if
thinking
they
about
thought that the wallet.
I understand why Apple did it. That's not the question. The question is, A, did they target it? In which case, the sacrosanct. This is what Gruber's upset about: the sacrosanct privacy of your wallet.
Well, there's ways to do that without taking away your privacy as well. Like you could have the wallet looking for something without you knowing anything about it. So you broadcast it out to everyone, and based on what's sitting in your wallet, it either grabs it or doesn't. But you don't need to know anything about the user to send. The way that Facebook works, you need to know a lot about the user. But the way that you can build systems that allow that it's looking for something, but it's sent to everyone. So if it was they could target it without having any information about you. So that might be the case, but I don't think that I say that, but I don't think they targeted anybody. I think it was a random dispersion of stuff to people's wallets. Because
would it be different if they did?
No, again, if they started, I think it would be right if what they did is they have a central amount of data about you that they used to then target you. I think that's more problematic. I think that if they said, "Oh,
this is the kind of person who would go see this movie," so let's put that little thing in there.
But if the wallet,
that would be very problematic.
If the wallet's making that decision and they're sending out an anonymous, undirected,
that's a lot of speculation, Alex. Nobody knows what.
But I'm saying we don't know, and so we can't.
But the assumption is always going to be by normal people. Well, I guess my wallet's not private.
Maybe I think that's a leap. I think that's a leap. I think that's tech people overthinking it. I think people don't care. They know that it works this way. They may assume that and not care, or they may not assume it. But saying, a push notification that's generic that came out of the Wallet app, if you notice it's in the Wallet app, that's about Apple Pay, by the way, so it has a clear relevance to the Wallet app,
right,
is somehow going to be perceived by regular people as a breach of trust. Will there be some people? Sure. People believe anything, right? We live in a world where people believe conspiracies of all sorts that are nonsense. I'm sure some of those people might believe this about this, but I don't. I think this is a little bit too much tech industry navel-gazing for me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Mike on Twitter agrees with you, so we're going to move on. He says,
"Great, my win. That's it.
You're right, Mike. We're moving on.
Boom. Done."
But Gruber is pretty upset. I mean, it's interesting. Maybe he's decided, well, if I'm going to be a pariah in the Apple world, I might as well just go all in.
Yeah, he's a real pariah getting invited to Apple Park and getting briefings and stuff.
Oh, let me tell you what pariah is.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.